Hey everybody, I'm Mike Chen. As you may have heard, there is a huge protest right now happening in Hong Kong. And if you don't know exactly what's going on, I'm going to try to break it down for you. I want to say this. What's happening in Hong Kong right now, it's not a simple protest. This is actually a major deal. Hong Kong citizens are basically protesting to keep their promised democratic rights, which they worry, with good reason, could be taken away by the Chinese Communist government in Beijing. This protest that you are seeing is sort of a standoff between Hong Kong and China over the city's future. You want to know another reason why this is such a huge deal? The last time a protest of this magnitude happened, it resulted in something called the Tiananmen Square Massacre. To understand why this whole thing started, we have to go back almost 20 years. In 1997, when Hong Kong, a former British colony, was returned to mainland China, China and the UK signed an agreement giving Hong Kong a, quote, high degree of autonomy for 50 years after its return to China. This is known as one country, two systems in a constitutional document called the Basic Law. At the heart of this deal was China's promise that in 2017, Hong Kong's citizens would be allowed to elect their top leader for the first time ever in a democratic election, which in Hong Kong is referred to as universal suffrage. Hong Kong's leader, known as the chief executive, which is kind of their equivalent to a mayor, is currently appointed by a committee which is basically all pro-Beijing. This year, though, there have been many signs that maybe the Chinese Communist government might be trying to back out on the deal that they signed. In July, the Chinese government issued a white paper stating that it has comprehensive jurisdiction over Hong Kong and that the high degree of autonomy of Hong Kong is not an inherent power, but one that comes solely from the authorization by the central leadership. Let me interpret that for you. Basically, what China's central government is saying is that, yeah, we rule Hong Kong, and your autonomy, that's not really a right. It's really a privilege, and if we want to take it away, we can take it away anytime we want. That's kind of like driving in the US. And if you don't get that, driving is actually a privilege in the US, not a right. So then came the bombshell. In August, Beijing announced its plan for Hong Kong's 2017 elections, and this whole thing sounds like some mind trick a parent is trying to play on their little kids. So Beijing basically said, okay, yeah, you, Hong Kong people, can have an election. See how nice we are? But the candidates for the election that you can have would have to be approved by a special committee, which is stacked with pro-Beijing members. So basically they're saying, yeah, you can hold an election and elect one of these people that we chose. Student groups boycotted classes and led peaceful marches to protest China's new plan for Hong Kong's 2017 election. And this got started on Wednesday, September 24th. But things started to heat up even more a couple days later as members of a pro-democracy group called Occupy Central with Love and Peace, or Occupy Central for short. Central is the name of Hong Kong's downtown district. Now, they had planned to launch a, quote, civil disobedience campaign on October 1st, which is the birth date of China's Communist Party's forming, a major holiday in China. But they thought, well, since the students are already protesting anyway, why don't we just join them early? And so they did. That's when we all saw protesters peacefully occupying the area in front of Hong Kong's city government headquarters, along with other downtown areas. Then something completely unexpected happened. Hong Kong's police started a fierce crackdown on protesters. They were fighting with protesters, using rubber bullets and full riot gear. So this really upset the Hong Kong residents, who were like, well, they were just peacefully protesting, which is a right. So how dare you attack them? So then the Hong Kong residents start flooding the streets to join the protesters. Many protesters used umbrellas to defend against pepper spray and tear gas, and thus the term umbrella revolution was coined. Then, of course, the crackdown intensified. So what does the Chinese government say about the crackdown? Yep, they endorsed the police action, and so does Hong Kong's chief executive, who is, of course, pro-Beijing. Of course, the protest worries many Hong Kong residents as the memory of Tiananmen Square massacre lingers in their minds. Hong Kong is the only place in China that holds a public march and ceremony remembering those who died for democracy in Tiananmen Square in 1989. There have even been reports of high-level communist officials who hinted that if Hong Kong police cannot resolve this protest, the Chinese military could be called upon. Reports also say that over 90% of people living in mainland China have no idea what's happening in Hong Kong right now, as the protests in Hong Kong have been censored in Chinese medias and online. So what is happening in Hong Kong really is not just about the protest that's happening or the crackdown. It's a fundamental question of whether Hong Kong will continue to enjoy the freedom and democracy that it has always known. So this protest could be just one of many confrontations that the residents of Hong Kong will have with the central government as we move towards finding out the answer to that looming question. All right, guys, hopefully that gave you an idea of what's happening in Hong Kong right now. Let me know your thoughts about the situation in the comments section below. Thank you so much. See you later.